2026 will be the best year in history to start an agency helping small businesses. But you've got to know the right model or you're going to fail. And I'm going to show you the right model in this video. There are two major factors that are going to make 2026 the best year ever for starting an agency helping small businesses. But before I share with you what those two factors are, it's incredibly important that you understand the right model. The agency model that you may be familiar with is absolutely broken and does not work when you're selling to small businesses. I have been working with small businesses for 20 years now, and I have studied every model out there and every company out there that has achieved any sort of success and scale. And there are literally 0 agencies that have grown to any significant size serving the small business marketplace. And I've seen businesses invest hundreds of millions of dollars to try and do it, only to fail. And it would be absolutely foolish to try to continue with that typical agency model, especially in today's technology advanced world. So what's wrong with that agency model? There's a phrase that you'll hear me use a lot, which is assets and automation over time and talent. What I mean is that in order to serve small businesses effectively, you have to be very efficient. Small businesses don't have a lot of money to spend with you. So you have to deliver your services using assets and automation instead of time and talent. The typical agency business model was based off of time and talent. You had somebody that was really good at social media or website design or managing Facebook ads, and you would sell their time doing those activities for clients. That is an agency model that works perfectly well if you're selling to really large companies that have a lot of money to spend. But small businesses don't have the money to spend for you to be able to make that model work. And again, it's been tried so many times, and the result is always the same. On occasion, you will find an agency that grows into the low 7 figures, but that business owner that runs that agency is actually stressed out of their mind because every time they get a new client, they have to hire new employees, their overhead is growing like crazy, and they end up barely making any money at all, or they don't make any money and they have to shut down. I've seen this happen over and over again. If you look at the businesses that have been successful selling to small businesses, they all utilize assets and automation. What do I mean by assets? That could be that they have software that they're using to deliver their service, like a business like HubSpot. Or it could be that they have media. A radio station, as an example, can sell to small businesses because they have this asset, this media, the radio station that people are tuned into. And so to deliver value, they're relying on that asset. They're relying on the fact that they have lots of people listening to their radio station, and so they can sell an ad, which is very easy for them to deliver. It doesn't take a lot of labor or time. They just run the ad over and over again on their radio station. It's a very effective model. Newspapers had this similar model. Groupon was an excellent example, was the fastest growing company in the world at one point, and it was because they had this asset, this list of customers that they could market to and offer these deals to, and this brand that people knew about, and that allowed them to, again, deliver value to small businesses without a lot of time and talent invested. So if you look at any successful model selling to small businesses, you're going to find assets and automation. That's absolutely critical that you understand and that you 100% commit to if you're going to be successful in 2026. So I mentioned earlier that there was these two factors that were making this the best year ever to start an agency. The first one is AI. AI is so powerful in so many ways, but it is driving change in the business world. Small businesses have been understaffed, under-resourced forever, and they know that they need to do something to try and get ahead. Most small businesses are absolutely desperate to try and find ways to actually run their business more profitably. AI is going to be the answer for so many of these small businesses. AI gives them what is like additional staff to be able to build their business with. Instead of having to have people to pick up phones now, you can have AI pick up phones. Instead of having somebody respond to the social media comments and posts and direct messages that you're getting, you can have AI do that. The reality is most small businesses are not picking up their phone calls. They're not responding to those messages on social media because they don't have the time to do it and they don't have the staff to do it. AI is going to allow us to give small businesses that extra capacity that they need. In addition, AI is going to make it so easy for you as an agency to deliver value and deliver services to small businesses. Even if you don't have a ton of marketing experience yourself, it's possible today to easily spin up a brand new website with the right images, the right copy, just by simply describing the industry that you're building the website for. It's also very easy to train AI to answer phone calls for small businesses or respond to those direct messages that they're getting in social media. There are lots of ways to do those things now. There's a lot of different tools and options out there for you to be able to deliver that value to small businesses. But that brings me to the second point that is going to make 2026 the best year ever for starting an agency, and that is HighLevel. If you're not familiar with HighLevel, it's a software platform that started about 6 years ago now that has absolutely taken over the industry. They have become the operating system of small businesses to the point where they literally have millions of customers now and thousands of agencies that are using HighLevel to deliver tools and services and value to those small business customers. HighLevel has done an absolutely brilliant job of incorporating AI into everything that they're doing, and they're really just getting started. It's hard to believe because they have gone over 6 years to being a business that started with absolutely nothing, completely bootstrapped, to now they are the second largest CRM behind Salesforce in the world, again with millions of customers. So their software has been incredibly effective at providing value to small businesses. But just as importantly for you as an agency is HighLevel is agency first. And what I mean by that is that their business model and their software is designed not to work directly with those small businesses, but to instead work with the agencies. HighLevel sells to agencies, agencies sell to small businesses. But they're using HighLevel to deliver the value to those small businesses. And they're doing it very profitably because HighLevel has designed their entire business model around passing almost all of the profits of providing those services to the agency. That all may sound too good to be true. I can assure you it's not. And all you have to do is look at HighLevel's success and the thousands and thousands of agencies that are working with them to build successful businesses. And it's HighLevel software that gives you the assets and automation that is so critical in this business model. You get to white label HighLevel's software platform. You get to take full advantage of their AI capabilities that they've built into this platform. You get to offer your small business customers all these integrated tools. So when I say that we're selling access to assets and automation instead of time and talent, the point is that we want to let HighLevel deliver the far majority of the value of what we're doing for these customers. You can do so much with this system that, again, the point is that this software is delivering so much of the value of your services for you so that you're not having to do as much manual work for the customer. But I want to stress, you should build value on top of just the software. What do I mean by that? If you're, let's say as an example, working with chiropractors, you can design templates that are specific to chiropractors that you're going to have in your service. You could have an automated workflow that has the perfect booking sequence to get somebody booked onto the calendar at that chiropractor for repeated services over time. So the chiropractor doesn't have to do as much outreach to make sure that they're repeatedly booking patients in for services each month or each quarter, depending on what that patient needs. So you can design that all into a workflow You could design a monthly marketing calendar for them into a workflow that covers specific topics of chiropractic care and why somebody would need to come back in to visit the chiropractor. You can do an automated series of workflows around collecting reviews and publishing those reviews and making sure that there's good customer service follow-up. All of that can be designed into the system here. That's not designed natively. So if the customer just sits down and uses HighLevel and you have not added that value for them, that's not in there. They're just going to have a blank canvas to work with. It's up to you as the agency to take that canvas and design something for their business so that these tools are really useful and that the customer really doesn't have to do much and understand much in terms of how to do marketing through these tools. They just let them happen automatically based on what you've designed. So you are still going to add tremendous value on top of the software. That is one point of confusion that really gets a lot of people hung up and thinking that, oh, I'm just reselling software. You're not, okay? The software, again, is a blank canvas. It is up to you to build the marketing intelligence into it using your campaigns and your knowledge of their business. The capabilities of the HighLevel software platform are expanding every day so that you have more ways that you can deliver value to those businesses. And you're paying HighLevel a small flat fee between $97 and $497 a month. In exchange, you can use that software to serve as many customers as you want at whatever price points that you want. And then you keep all of that margin. So it's as if you have developed your own software platform to be able to offer incredible value to these small businesses, but you're not having to do the development, you're not having to do all the technical support, you're not having to build out the infrastructure that has cost HighLevel hundreds of millions of dollars to do now over the last 6 years. You're just getting to take advantage of that, and it's your job to go out and sell those small businesses and manage those relationships, and in exchange build a really nice recurring revenue lifestyle business that is completely opposite and far better than the typical agency model. I've been selling to small businesses now for about 20 years, and I've built 3 different times now businesses that are generating at least 6 figures a month in recurring revenue. And I've done it by this assets and automation over time and talent model from the very beginning. That's what has allowed me to scale. It's what has allowed me to generate that profitable recurring revenue. I was able to exit one of those businesses very successfully, and I've worked with thousands of agencies over the last dozen years or so to help them do the same. So when I met the founders of HighLevel at the very beginning of the business and they told me what their vision was, I really clearly understood what they were trying to do, and I really clearly understood the need for what they were doing to help digital agencies thrive. So I jumped in with both feet. I'm a very proud HighLevel affiliate. I'm one of the top earning HighLevel affiliates. And in exchange for the commission that I earn, if you decide to sign up for HighLevel or upgrade your account in HighLevel through me, I provide all of the training that I have developed over the last 20 years in selling to small businesses. And I provide a private community to help support my agency customers, as well as sales and marketing resources and resources for working with HighLevel to help you succeed. As I said, I'm a very proud HighLevel affiliate because they are literally changing this industry, and I've already seen hundreds of agency owners have their lives changed by what this software platform has done for their business and for their customers' business. And in spite of the crazy growth that HighLevel has experienced so far, they are actually accelerating in growth going into 2026, which is absolutely incredible, but again speaks to the success that they are having and their agencies are having in providing real value to small businesses. So when you combine the leverage that gives back to small businesses to help them run a real profitable business, plus how AI impacts your ability to deliver services, and then finally, the HighLevel software platform that has the right model for you to be financially successful as an agency. There has never been a time like right now in this industry, and there is a window of time here over the next, say, few years where you have an opportunity to build an incredible recurring revenue lifestyle business based on what I'm going to lay out here in this video. If you decide to invest in HighLevel through me or upgrade your HighLevel account through me, you get access to all of my bonuses, and I would love to work with you to help you build your business. This is one of the best lifestyle businesses that you're ever going to see. You're selling recurring revenue services at very high margins, and because of AI and the HighLevel software platform, it does not require much of a team at all to deliver services to a lot of customers. Okay, AI and automation will be doing the heavy lifting of service delivery. So again, you don't have to rely on hiring expensive time and talent like the old agency model. So even while selling services at very reasonable prices, which you need to do to sell to small businesses, you can stack up really nice recurring revenue, and you don't need a lot of customers before you can completely change your lifestyle and your financial position. But this opportunity is not going to be around forever, and that's why 2026 is such an important year. The smart agencies are diving into this opportunity. And once they get customers on this service delivery platform using HighLevel, and they're delivering this tremendous value to these small businesses at a very reasonable price point, they're going to have those relationships locked up for years. So you don't want to miss that opportunity to get these customers. Getting new customers onto a system like this is much easier than getting them to change once they're already on some system and working with another service provider. So you want to get your customers now so that you build this very valuable asset now before it gets even more competitive over the next few years. The smart entrepreneurs are jumping into this now. So in the rest of this video, I'm going to lay out exactly how I would go about building that agency in 2026, everything from which customers to go after, the services to offer, how to price and package those services, how to get your first customers, how to expand with your marketing and sales effort once you have those first handful of customers, the financial model and how this all works. And I'm going to share in as much detail as I can so that whether or not you end up working with HighLevel through me or not, my hope is that you're going to get good value out of it that's going to help you build your business. Okay, the first thing that you're going to need to decide in this model is who it is that you're going to serve exactly. When we say small businesses, there are so many different types of small businesses out there. The reality is that HighLevel as a platform can be used really for any type of small business in the marketplace. It's one of the really powerful things about the platform, and their ambition is to completely dominate the small business space and be that operating system for this entire small business community. And I think they're going to do it. But just because you can serve everybody doesn't mean that you should serve everybody. There are real benefits to going after a specific market or maybe just a handful of markets. The reasons why: one, your sales marketing become much easier. If you're speaking to the same customers, you really hone in your message, you learn the marketing channels, you learn the things to say when you're selling that are going to be most impactful. You get testimonials from customers in that market, which that proof really helps influence other people in their market. It just makes everything about your sales and marketing much easier and much more efficient. The other thing is that it makes your service delivery much easier and more scalable. Okay, with HighLevel, you can put together what are called snapshots. And a snapshot is essentially a collection of all of the marketing assets and automation that you've designed. You can take all of that, the landing pages, web pages, the email campaigns, the SMS campaigns, the workflows, and you can make a snapshot of it. Like literally, if you were taking a screenshot or you had a camera and you were taking a picture of that entire collection of resources, and then you can just take that picture and drop it into a new customer's account. So once you've designed a system that's pretty good for plumbers, you can take that system, create a snapshot, and then drop it into the next plumber that you're working with. When you do that, everything becomes easier and faster and more profitable with your service delivery. So it's incredibly powerful to be at least relatively focused from both a sales and marketing and a service delivery perspective. Now, I just said relatively focused. What does that mean? If you're going after a variety of types of home services companies, let's say plumbers, landscapers, HVAC, the way that they operate their businesses is almost identical. Yeah, one's dealing with plumbing and one's dealing with HVAC, but the actual nature of the operations of the business, how they get customers, how they need to schedule appointments and bill for those appointments and things like that, it's almost identical. So can you take what you're doing in one niche and have it apply to others that are similar? Absolutely. And when you're getting started, I will say, I think it's great to give yourself a period of time where you have some flexibility to serve a variety of types of customers. I personally wouldn't just go out and just leave it wide open and just say, I'll work with anybody. I would at least put in a little bit of homework, do some thinking to say, you know what, I think I want to focus on home services, or I think I want to focus on law firms, whatever it is, so that you're at least bringing some focus to it from day one. For the first time in my 20 years of selling to small businesses, my recommendation here on which niche to pick has really changed, and I want to share what that is and why that is. My recommendation now is that you actually veer more towards blue-collar businesses or businesses where there's a high degree of personal interaction. What I mean by that is that could be a hair salon or a bar or a restaurant where people go and sit at the bar and talk to their bartender. That could be a chiropractor or a massage therapist. It could be a plumber. It could be a roofer. It could be an HVAC installer. Why those businesses? Because AI is going to dramatically change knowledge-based businesses. So businesses like law firms, CPAs, consultants, software businesses. I used to say that those were generally the better businesses to focus on because they tended to have more money. But those businesses are going to go through dramatic change with AI. They are going to get hit first. The people doing plumbing and putting roofs on houses, those businesses are going to be the most durable for the longest period of time. The bartender or the hairstylist, people are always going to want to go and talk to their bartender or their hairstylist while they're getting their haircut. Those are very AI-proof businesses. And really any business where there's that high degree of community aspect or personal interaction is going to survive longer in this AI world. And I would actually say these businesses, for the first time ever, have the opportunity to truly thrive with what you can do for them. Because again, these are businesses that have been horribly resource constrained. They don't have sophisticated operations. They don't have automation working for them. They can't afford a team of people to make sure that every phone call gets answered and every lead gets followed up with like big businesses can. But with the systems that you can put in place for them, and particularly leveraged with AI, you can give them that capacity to finally be really successful. So I actually think that small businesses of that more personal interaction type are about to experience a golden age. And those are the types of customers that I would recommend that you would focus on. Not that I think that all law firms are going to disappear or accounting firms or consulting firms are all just going to disappear, but I think a lot of them are going to disappear. And I think even the ones that survive, their business is going to be changed so much that it's going to create a lot of volatility, which just means that your business is going to have more volatility if you're serving them. We're trying to build nice, solid, recurring revenue lifestyle businesses. We want stable customers that we can get predictable results for, and that we can just run this business nice and consistently over time. Okay? So I would recommend that you absolutely focus on more personal interaction and blue collar types of businesses. Now, that still leaves you a lot of businesses that you can choose between. And so I use this graphic that you see here on the screen to help people think about which niche that they want to go after. There's a variety of factors that can really impact how attractive a niche is. One, how big is it? Generally, the bigger the niche in terms of just the overall size of it, the overall revenue that it produces each year, the number of businesses that are in it, the better the opportunities are for you. How is that niche growing? What's its growth rate? Is it growing or is it shrinking? Because A shrinking industry, even if it's a pretty big one, is usually not a lot of fun to be a part of. But a growing industry, a rising tide lifts all boats. People are more optimistic. They're making more money. They tend to be investing more. Much more interesting businesses to be a part of. Does it have accessible channels? What I mean by that is, are there ways to reach them that have already been established? The good news is, in today's world with social media and social media advertising, there's a way to reach every niche. Advertising on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it is, you can reach every niche. But some niches have their own trade shows, they have their own major podcasts, they have newsletters that you could sponsor or advertise in. All of those things, one, make it easier to reach them with your sales and marketing, and two, just demonstrate proof that they are really good, viable, healthy niches. Somebody else has already done the work of creating these audiences there, and if they've done that, must mean that they're making money doing it, and that's just a good positive sign for you in terms of the health of that particular niche. Next is proof of success. A lot of people think when they're starting out, I want to find that niche that nobody else knows about. Let me tell you, there is no niche that is just flying under the radar. That's a good niche, okay? Somebody has tried every niche out there. And what I would say to you is that you actually want to see a competitor doing well there. You want to see that it's possible, because if somebody has tried it and they're not successful and you can't find anybody competing in that space, that's usually a sign that they weren't able to make money there. So you want to see some proof of success. You want to see some people there that are doing well. Next is, do you have some sort of unique winning strategy that you can bring to that niche? So in other words, maybe you used to work for hair salons, or maybe you used to work for restaurants and you did marketing for them. You really understand their needs. You have connections there, things like that. Excellent. It just gives you a different perspective and ideally some new strategies that you can bring to that market that might differentiate you from the competition. Maybe you've got a lot of experience running Facebook ads, and so you know that you can roll out a service that is designed to really help them get a lot more exposure and lead generation at really affordable rates. Great. So is there something that you can bring to that niche that's going to give you an edge? And then finally, and I actually think that this is the single most important factor out of all of these, and that is, who do you want to take care of? What I mean by that is, who can you get excited enough about that you're actually going to want to work with them and create success for them and be passionate and maybe even slightly obsessed about their success for the next 5 to 7 years. Okay, anytime I get into a new business, I think about it in a 5 to 7 year time frame, because it takes that long to grow a business to a pretty good size usually. So I want you to think about businesses that you would actually enjoy, really truly enjoy working with. For me, as an example, I love working with restaurants and bars. Don't like working with law firms and CPAs. So even if I thought I could be successful with law firms and CPAs, I'm not going to go after them. Why? Because I know I am not going to be bringing my best to that space, and somebody else is. I'm going to have a competitor that is obsessed with law firms and loves working with them. I don't want to compete with somebody like that if I'm not obsessed too. So think about somebody that you feel like you could actually be excited about and really want to work with and serve, because that obsession, that passion, one, it's going to show, that energy and enthusiasm is going to come through to your customers, but two, it's going to drive you to get better and to create solutions even when times are tough. And look, if you're going to start a new business, there's going to be tough times. So you want to have that passion, that excitement that's going to help pull you through those. Whatever niche you choose, don't dwell on this for too long. You can always change your mind at some point. But what I encourage you to do is do some research, make a decision, and then go after it for, let's say, 90 days at a minimum, to give yourself enough time to learn about that niche, to get some experience, to talk to some prospects, and see if it's the opportunity that you think it is. If not, again, you can pivot. The last thing that you want to do is not make a decision and still be thinking about what niche you want to go after 6 months from now. That's an incredible waste of time. So pick something and go after it. All right, the next thing that you want to do is get a website set up and get your foundational sales and marketing processes set up. And what I mean by that is the ability to capture leads, follow up with them, book them on your calendar so you can get a sales call with them. In today's world, you've got to have a website up to represent yourself as a business. And certainly if you're going to claim to be a digital marketing agency, you really need to do that. And it needs to look professional. It needs to represent you well. We have templates that we provide to the agencies that we work with, and we can help you set these up. Here's an example of one we just set up recently for a customer. Obviously, you can see he's leveraging some AI and automation images here, but they're nice, simple, professional looking websites that help you communicate the fundamentals of the value proposition that you're going to take out into the marketplace and attract these small businesses with. All of this is customizable, of course, with your own images, your own copy, but it's just a good, solid site that will help you get off the ground quickly and start selling. Because really that's what success in this business is all about. You've got to generate enough customers and you've got to hang on to those customers so that you create that recurring revenue. That doesn't happen until you're selling. As they say, nothing happens until a sale is made. We don't have to be perfect in how we're going to deliver our services until we have customers, until we actually have a need. So we want to get you selling as fast as you possibly can, and that means getting a website and again, getting those basic sales processes set up. All that is done with HighLevel very easily, and of course, we can help you with that if you'd like. The next thing is that you really need to understand the business model that works, okay? I mentioned at the beginning of this video, selling time and selling talent does not work. It does not scale. It is not a successful business model when selling to small businesses. And I've seen so many people throw years of effort and so much money into trying to prove that agency model would work with small businesses, and it has never worked out. What works is getting recurring revenue that is largely automated. This is why there's so many venture-backed software companies that sell to small businesses, because software is incredibly scalable, high margin, and delivers value largely in an automated way. And so you can offer that software at price points that small businesses actually can pay for month after month for years to come. So we want our agency, again, to be a marketing systems provider, and that the systems that you are providing, you're going to charge for a monthly flat fee, although that flat fee can grow and fluctuate depending on some various factors, which we'll talk about later. But the idea is that you're going to have a simple, relatively low price service that, just because it's simple does not mean it's not incredibly effective. It will be, but your service packages are going to be relatively simple, lower price points, so that you can sell to small businesses and retain them without a ton of friction. Okay, small businesses, no matter what pitch you've heard from any guru on YouTube, do not pay for high ticket services for very long. Maybe you can get some money out of them, but they don't stick around and continue to pay that money for very long because they're small businesses. They would rather see that money go to themselves, okay? So I just want to show you how this model works though and how it compounds, because it's really important that you understand that so that you know what you're driving towards. This is a very simple spreadsheet just to represent a basic version of this model, and you can see over here we've got this $497 price point. So this model is assuming that you have a $497 average monthly recurring revenue from your customers. Not a ton of money, certainly not the high ticket stuff that you've heard about, but it stacks up. So you can see here at the beginning, we've got 0 customers, 0 revenue. If we assume that we just get 2 new customers in month 2, and you can see right here, new customers, 2 in month 3, 2 in month 4, 2 in month 5, 2 in month 6, 2 in month 7. So we're only talking 2 new customers a month. And in this model, I've actually built in some churn. So I'm assuming that some customers are gonna go away, which is why some of these numbers, right, we added 2 new customers in month 1 and 2 in month 2, but we only have 3 total here. It's just showing that you're not going to get all of that revenue every month because of when they sign up, and you're also going to experience some churn. So you're not going to just keep every single customer and have it stack up perfectly. But the point being, at just 2 customers a month for the first year, you're already up to about $10,000 a month in recurring revenue. That's very high margin, 75%, 80% gross margin revenue that is coming in month after month on autopilot. Now, I also share with you some strategies on how you can get more upfront cash as well. Because I know you may be thinking, hey Mike, I need to sell something for more than just $497 at a time because I need some more cash in my pocket. Yes, absolutely. There are multiple strategies that I teach that allow you to put more upfront cash in your pocket. So let's say with each of those customers, you also get $2,500 up front. Okay, so now you're talking about $5,000 up front each month, plus the $10,000 in recurring that you're getting. It could be more than $2,500 up front as well, depending on exactly how you're pitching and positioning your services. The point being, at just 2 new customers a month for the first year, and then you can see 3 new customers a month, and then 4 new customers a month. These aren't huge numbers. By the end of year 2, you could be looking at a $25,000 a month recurring revenue business. Now, this is showing the most basic version of this model. There's a lot more that we can do with this to maximize our opportunities, maximize our revenue, get more customers. I just want you to understand that you don't have to make miracles happen. You can get 2 new customers a month. That's not real hard. You also don't need to charge an arm and a leg. You can charge very reasonable fees. The important thing about that is that those very reasonable price points keep customers for years. Customers paying you month after month for years. And that is what this business model is all about. And you need to understand that, and not just understand it, become obsessed with it. That your goal is to stack recurring revenue. Okay? I have now built 7 figures in recurring revenue multiple times in my career, starting with my first IT services business that I built up to monthly recurring revenue well into the millions of dollars. My current business that I'm running into the 6 figures in monthly recurring revenue. That's how you get the lifestyle that you're looking for. Okay, your life is really nice when you have automated payments coming in every single month after month, and you don't have to stress so much about selling all the new customers or all the big projects to be able to pay the bills. That's the old agency model. It's a terrible model, it's a stressful model, and that's why so many of them go broke. This is a model that is built to scale and give you the lifestyle that you want. And you've just got to understand and stick with selling recurring revenue. Your packages that you're going to design are going to be all about recurring revenue. And I'm going to show you what it is that you should sell and how you should package it next. All right, let's talk about what services to offer now. The most important decisions that you can make around what services to offer are 2 things. You've got to have the right price points and the right gross margins to be successful. Small businesses can only pay so much money, and you have to be realistic about that, because if your price points are too high, you may be able to get some dollars out of them for a short period of time at those price points, but they are going to cancel your services and they are going to leave. If you look at any successful business that is selling to small businesses where they're getting recurring revenue, there are price points that work. Look at the software companies that are getting long-term recurring revenue. They're at $97, $297, $497. And then some of the more service-oriented businesses are $697, $997 a month. If you look at a HubSpot, which is probably the highest price point that you're going to find in the marketplace selling to small businesses at scale, they have their software priced as high as a few $1,000s a month, or maybe even more than that in some cases. But those are really high-end price points for the small business marketplace for anything consistent. The goal of this business model should be to stack recurring revenue for years and years. You want your customers to stick around for a long time. A business that has a 3-year average customer life is dramatically more profitable than a business that has a 1-year customer life. So those price points are critical to get them to stick around. But you have to have the right gross margins to be able to run your business profitably as well. What I mean by that is the amount of money that you get to take out of that price point and apply it to actually covering all the costs of your business and generating some profit for you, that percentage of your sales price has to be high. So I like to aim for at least around 70% gross margins in our services. So that means if you sell it for $100, 70 of those dollars can go towards covering your sales, marketing, overhead, and profitability. The other 30 go towards the cost of service delivery. So that 70 out of $100, 70%, is a critical number, because if you're selling at those low price points, we have to make sure we have enough money left over at the end of the day to make all of this worthwhile. So in order to have gross margins like that on price points as low as they are, your service has to be delivered on assets and automation. It has to be delivered based on some sort of technology or some sort of asset that you've invested in that you can then sell to many customers, so that you don't have those high costs of service delivery for each and every customer. Okay, this is why the time and talent model does not work in the agency business when you're selling to small businesses. There's too much cost in talent. This is also why HighLevel is so critically important in this equation and is taking over this industry, is because they have given the agencies the tools to deliver services in a very automated way, and they've given us the cost structure so that we are able to price our services with those margins. My recommendation going into 2026 is that you really take advantage of every AI capability in HighLevel to structure your services around, for two reasons. One, you can deliver tremendous value to your customers with these AI capabilities with very little effort on your part, which is the second part of this equation, is that your service delivery costs and your service delivery time and effort are going to be very low if you're leveraging AI. It's pretty incredible now, with just a little bit of training, that you can set up AI to add tremendous value to any business. It doesn't take long, it's not complicated, you don't have to be a marketing guru to do it. You're relying on the system and its capabilities to deliver a lot of value to your customers, and do it very quickly and easily and efficiently on an ongoing basis, so that you can continue to get those really high margin services for years to come. It's also really important that you have a strategy of foot in the door services that allow you to acquire a customer quickly, and then some sort of upsell service packages so that you can get your price points a little higher than those initial foot in the door services. That's going to allow you to acquire the customers quickly using more of a marketing-based sales process instead of a sales-based sales process, and I'll explain that later. And then to upsell at the higher price points, which then gives you that greater average customer value and gives you more profits that you can build your business with into the future. So it is a multi-step strategy though. The best agencies are using these very low ticket foot in the door services to acquire the customer quickly. Once you have a customer relationship, it's much, much easier to sell them additional services. So let's take a look at a service designer worksheet that I share with my community, and I can walk you through the exact service packages that we recommend that you take to market in 2026 and how to structure and price your service packages for profitability. So what you see here is a section of our service package design workbook that we use with our agencies that we're helping to grow their business. And you can see here, these are foot in the door service packages. So as I mentioned, it's really important that you have foot in the door services at attractive price points that you can use to accelerate your sales cycle and just win the customer relationship. They've got to be simple, easy to understand, easy to execute, high margin, and again, at those right price points. So there are a number of them that work really well. We love a free website with hosting offer, the web chat and AI chatbot service. Now that we have the AI chat from HighLevel, it's really good. That's a very powerful service. AI voice is really powerful. Welcome Mat lead generation. What this means is just optimizing your customer's website so that they're actually capturing leads. Most small businesses have no lead capture on their websites. Missed call text back, which allows you to automatically text somebody back when you've missed a call from them. That becomes largely unnecessary if they have your AI voice service, but some customers are not going to be ready for your AI voice service, so missed call text back is a great one. A birthday funnel. This works really well for a lot of businesses, especially restaurants, bars, salons, things like that, where you want to recognize somebody on their birthday. It's a great way to help that business capture leads and build a list. And then review management with reactivation campaigns. This is a very common foot in the door service that's very proven and works really well. Many of the best agencies out there are just picking one of these and running with it and just saying they're just going to focus on that foot in the door for as long as they can. Others are offering a variety of them. That's really up to you and up to your kind of capacity to manage this stuff and what you're comfortable with. But I can tell you that any of these will work, and you can also do a combination of them that will work really well. And you can offer them for $97 to $197 a month and still have the gross margins that you need. As I mentioned earlier in this video, anything that is based on AI, we think is great for you to run with. It's a very powerful service, and it can be delivered at very low cost and very high efficiency. So again, that AI chat is really good. AI voice is really powerful and compelling. It takes a little more setup, and sometimes customers aren't quite ready for it yet. It seems a little intimidating to them that an AI voice could be answering their phones for them. But you've got a number of different options here, and again, these are designed to help you sell quickly and to really lock in that customer relationship so that then ultimately you can upsell as many of those customers as you can into your more core price points, your complete system services. What I mean by that, we teach an approach to selling and marketing systems as a service. And so those foot in the doors are critical pieces of a complete system. But when you can show somebody the value of that little piece of your system with the foot in the door, and they see that value, it becomes really easy to then upsell a lot of them into a more complete system where you're saying, hey, look, if you like the benefits of that, I've got so much more to offer you, let me show you. And so the core service packages, we keep really simple. I know that there are so many options of things that you could do, and that can be overwhelming. HighLevel alone just has so many capabilities that if you just listed off all of the features and benefits, it would be overwhelming to anyone. So instead of having these complicated tiers of if you buy at this price point, you only get certain features and benefits, and you buy at the next one and you get this longer list, and you buy at this next one and you get the even longer list, we include all of the features and benefits essentially of our complete marketing system, which is a huge amount of the features from HighLevel, but we include those for all of our customers. Again, this is just to keep things really simple, make it easy for the customer to understand and buy, and not put you into any of these more complicated sales situations where you're trying to justify certain price points for certain benefits that maybe the customer doesn't even really understand. Our approach that works really well is we go to our customers and we say, here's our complete system. We would love to be able to turn on all these incredible marketing tools for your business. They are all important. They all play a role. And you can get started at this very reasonable price point. And the difference in the price points you can see here is really just based on usage. The most successful software as a service businesses selling to small businesses are now using a usage-based growth model. And what that means is instead of selling on specific features that you get access to or don't get access to at certain price points, they're giving you access to what you need, but they are charging you based on usage. If you use it more, you pay more. If you have more employees using it, you pay more than if you have less employees using it. So we follow a very similar approach. You can see $297, $497, $697 here. And you can see the only difference between the three packages is the team members that are using the system in this particular case. Now, you can make it based off of the team members using it, and you could also make it that each of these packages has a different number of credits for SMS, calls, AI services, things like that included. But if you want to keep it just super simple and not confuse somebody as to how many credits do they need, just do it based on how many people are using the system. If you've got a very small business, $297 a month. As you grow, $697 a month. It keeps things very easy. I have a couple of decades now of experience in selling to small businesses, and that saying that a confused mind doesn't buy applies so much to small businesses, right? These business owners are not marketing experts. They're not sitting around and evaluating all these different types of tools and systems like you are. They're not studying marketing systems every day. So when you go to them with this big long list of features and benefits and say, at this price point you get this, and at this price point you get this, Which do you want to choose? It's overwhelming to them, and it creates all kinds of questions, and it makes them question you and why are you trying to upsell me at these higher price points? Versus when you keep your packages nice and simple like this, it creates ease, simplicity, and it feels like there's a fair sense of alignment between you and the customer, because you're telling the customer, hey, sign up for whatever package is right for you based on the size of your business. Either way, you're going to get everything that you need. You're going to get our complete system. So it feels very fair. It's fair to you. It allows you to scale your price points without having to do anything real complicated. Every customer is getting the same service. So it's a really nice model. Now you may be wondering what is in that system. I keep on saying that we're selling them the complete system, and you can see all R6 capabilities here. We have a framework that we teach, the R6. This is a system that I designed to actually train my own sales team on how to sell. It was originally called the R4, now it's the R6, but it is based off of these business capabilities and needs that your marketing helps to optimize. So in other words, a business needs a strong reputation. You can provide tools and services to help strengthen that reputation. It needs to be ready to capture new leads from phone calls or email or SMS and ready to follow up with them in a timely manner. You can help with that. A business needs to be able to resell its services. It needs to have campaigns in place to make sure that they're inviting customers back for repeat business. Same with remarketing, a very similar function. And then reach. Reach is expanding the exposure of the business, usually through social media content, ads, things like that. These are things that you can help your customers with using HighLevel and some additional services that you may want to layer on top of HighLevel. And we teach our agencies how to design their proprietary system based around these R's and based around the capabilities, particularly of HighLevel. You don't have to offer all of these things to your customers. You don't have to include all of this in your system. And in fact, what we recommend is that you design your system specifically to the audience of customers that you're selling to. Chiropractors need different things than lawyers, and restaurants need different things than plumbers. But we give you a framework to be able to design that easily and quickly so that it makes sense. You can explain it to your customers and they can understand it based off of these normal language terms rather than trying to understand all the technical features of the system that you're selling. So that's how we help agencies design their specific system that they use to upsell to. It's very straightforward and very effective. Setting up your service packages is one of the ways that HighLevel really shines and has really helped agencies with these new versions of services that we've just covered. And the reason why is that you can build using what HighLevel calls this SaaS configurator. You can build service packages into HighLevel that will automatically provision access to the right things within HighLevel and will automatically bill for services used by your customers, either based on the number of people that are accessing those services. So if your customer has 5 employees, you could bill them at a certain rate, and if they have 10 employees, you could bill them at a higher rate. Or if your customer is using the voice services, SMS services, AI services, which is incredibly important. Again, if we want to run our services with recurring revenue and bill for access and bill for the automated services that we're providing, not time and talent, we don't want to be doing invoicing of our time. We don't want to be doing manual tracking of what the user is doing inside of our system and having to figure out bills for that. So HighLevel allows us to build these service packages in an automated way. Again, this is just one of the huge benefits that HighLevel provides that agencies did not have access to before. So let me just show you an example of this. Here you can set up a variety of different packages at different price points, again, reflecting what we just covered in our sheet there. And you can see you can do a monthly price, an annual price. You can give them a discount if they pay in advance. And then you go in here and edit the details. And this is where you can really get into the guts of what exactly you're providing with this particular service and how it's getting charged for. So you can see here we've created our monthly and annual. This is connected to our Stripe account, so it automatically bills through Stripe. And then you can see here that you can set a user limit if you'd like. So in this particular plan, it's a $97 plan. We could say, hey, only one person can access it at that price point. If you want up to 5 people, then that's going to be at our $297 plan. We can limit the number of people that can access the account through the system here automatically. You could also limit it based on contacts if you wanted to. So contacts in their CRM, say you can only have 1,000 contacts in there. That's not the approach that we take, but you could do that. And then here in the features, you can literally determine all of these features and capabilities of HighLevel that you'd like to include or not include just by selecting them and turning them on or off. Based on our service plan structure, what we recommend is that you give access to almost everything in HighLevel. There are people who take the approach of trying to segment their service plans based on features. If you want access to funnels, it's this price point. If you want access to workflows, it's this price point. We would prefer, and I would recommend that you prefer, that you just give access to as much as they need to have access to at every price point to be successful with your system and to get the most value out of it. Why? Because the more that they're using those features, the more they are hooked into your system and they're going to stick around. So we want them using as many of these features as we can. It's really foolish to limit what you're giving access to when the entire goal, again, of this business model is to stack long-term recurring revenue. So give them access to things. The more that they're using, the more likely they are to stay. So again, you have access to all kinds of different things that you can turn on and off for them, including marketplace apps, which you can add in here. There's thousands of apps that have been developed here that you can explore and add those. But what's really important here is this rebilling and trials and credits. So rebilling allows us to automatically mark up and bill for their usage of email, premium workflow features, content AI, conversation and voice AI, WhatsApp usage, reviews AI, domain purchases, funnel AI. So you've got all these incredible AI capabilities and other features that they're going to use that would need to be billed for: email, phone calls, text messages, things like that. And in here, you can automatically set how they will be billed for each of these various services. So each of these has the ability to mark up to their own specific price points. They have different costs, right? Sending an SMS has a different cost structure than doing a voice call on the telecom networks, and so that is reflected here. You have HighLevel behind the scenes negotiating for you to get us the very best rates, and then it's as simple as you can just do this little slider here and determine your markup. Depending on what it is that you're selling, I typically recommend a 3 times markup on services. That gives you that 67% gross margins, but in the case of these services, sometimes your customers will actually have access to some pricing that is very competitive that you're going to need to make sure and match. So phone services, SMS services, depending on the industry you're selling to, those services are very common. And so there are going to be customers that know, hey, here's how much we're currently paying per text, how much we're currently paying for our phone calls. Can you match that? And so this is not an area where you have to be really strictly concerned about those 67% margins, because you are already getting the base 97, 297, 497 from our service plans, and that's really where your profitability is locked in. So we can build our service plans right in here though and re-bill for all these services here automatically. We don't have to manually track their usage or anything like that. It all just hits their credit card. Here in trials and credits, you can also set a trial period if you'd like to, so your customers can come on board, use the system, and not be billed until a certain date. And then you can add credits. This is an important feature. What this does is essentially for those services that we just walked through where there's rebilling, you can say, hey, you've got $20 in credit each month for those services. So instead of them getting billed automatically when they're already paying you, let's say $497 a month, rather than hit them with another bill right away, $497 plus, now you're using the thing, you have to pay even more. What we want to do is apply some credits in here so that the customer can use the system, see the benefit before they start getting billed. So in this particular case, we have $20 of credits applied on a $97 plan. So that's roughly 20% of our revenue that we're applying towards credits. That is credits that could be used. If they don't use $20 in services, then it won't impact your margins at all. If they did use $20 in services that you were paying to high level because of the cost structure of those rebill services, then you could potentially have that $20 taken out of your margin. But again, what you're paying for is to get that customer really activated in using the service. And then as they go over that $20 credit in usage, you're going to be billing them for those services, which is where you will, of course, make up that margin. So the important thing here, though, is that HighLevel allows us to build these service plans into the system. You have a customer put in their credit card, it's going to automatically bill them according to these rules so that you can bill them based on the usage of services and how many people they have accessing the platform at any one time. So that, again, you go back to our service package design worksheet and allows us to just really mirror exactly what we've laid out there in our service packages and bill for it all automatically. Okay, up to this point in the video here, everything that I've shared with you is essentially getting yourself ready to sell. You've now got a website, sales process, you've got your service packages designed. Now, how do you get customers? That's really the key behind success in this business, is that you have to be able to get customers and get them consistently so that you can grow your business to the recurring revenue that you need to change your lifestyle and create a really valuable asset. The great thing is, if you go back to that spreadsheet that I showed you earlier in this video, it doesn't take a lot of new customers each month to get you to a point where you're on track to generating 7 figures in this business in a relatively short period of time, a couple of years or so. And that is, you really only need 4 or 5 new customers a month. And of course, yes, you can accelerate that and go even faster, but it's a nice realistic target to go for 4 customers a month, okay? Anybody can get to 4 customers a month with just some smart hustle. You don't have to have a ton of resources or money to do it. I also like that when you're growing your business at a controlled rate like that, say 4 or 5 new customers a month, you don't have the same operational stress as you do when you're adding 10, 15, 20 or more customers a month. And growth can create a lot of challenges and it can cost a lot of money when you're having to hire more quickly to be able to take care of all those new customers. So depending on your ambition and depending on your objectives, I'm never going to tell you that one way or the other is right. I just want to make sure that you understand that you don't have to have some crazy growth at this business to really change your life and to change your lifestyle. Just 4 customers a month. Again, as I said, going back to that spreadsheet, by the end of the year, you can be generating 6 figures for yourself. Within a couple of years, you can be generating 7 figures. The math works out really well. So there's a handful of things that are really critical to understand when selling to small businesses. One, as I already told you, you have to do it at the right price points. If you've got the wrong price points, it's going to slow everything down and it's going to be very hard to find small businesses that can spend a lot of money with you. So you've got to have attractive price points to get that sales velocity, that sales momentum that you want. The next thing is that when you have those lower price points, you have to be more of a marketing-driven sales process. I mentioned that term earlier in this video. What does that mean, a marketing-driven sales process? There's a marketing-driven sales process and there's a sales-driven sales process. You're probably familiar with what a sales-driven sales process is. That's when somebody's making cold calls and sending cold emails and you're out networking, and it's really based on you putting in hustle and effort, or a salesperson putting in hustle and effort to close deals. That's the way B2B selling was done for a long time. I know I did that for a good 10 plus years at my businesses. We were cold calling machines. So I've got a ton of experience. I did it really well. I built some successful businesses doing it. And I would tell you right now that I would never make that the foundation of growth at my business in today's world. We now live in a marketing-driven world. What I mean by that is that you and I are consuming content like this all the time, right? We're on YouTube channels, we're on social media platforms. On the other hand, I don't even have an office phone anymore. I run multiple businesses. I have no office phone systems. HighLevel is my phone systems, and my cell phone is my phone systems. And I personally never ever answer any call coming to my cell phone where I don't know who it is that's calling. I also don't respond to cold emails in my inbox. I know that some people still do those things, but the number of people that want to get a cold call or a cold email and are going to be responsive to that are dramatically lower in today's world than they were 10 or 15 years ago when we didn't have as much emphasis on social media and content. You need to adapt. You need to be a marketing-driven sales process, which you're a marketing agency, so it makes a lot of sense anyway. So what does that mean? That means that we need to be creating valuable content. We need to be sharing it everywhere that we can. We need to be running ads that pull people to us and then follow up with them, right? Get them to opt into your newsletter, get them to opt into hearing from you, and then you're following up with somebody that's interested based on the content that you've put out there that they've consumed, and they've said, yeah, this business has something smart that could help me grow my business. Let me get in touch, let me find some more information. That is the way the world works today when it's at its best, right? I'm sure you know you don't like to be cold called, but every single day you are out there watching content and finding content that you actually want to consume and products and services that you're interested in, and you are somehow metaphorically raising your hand and saying, I'm interested in that, either by opting in or following them on social media or whatever it is. That's the way that you want to run your business as well. And so having a marketing-driven sales plan is key, and that means content marketing on social media in today's world. I am not saying, just for the record, I'm not saying that you can't do cold email. I'm not saying that you can't do cold calling, and I'm not saying that you can't do networking to grow your business. You can. And in the early days, in the first 6 months of your business in particular, I recommend that you do everything, that you work like a dog and take every single approach that you can to grow your business. Because honestly, creating the content and sharing the content doesn't take that long. Spend the rest of your day doing all those other activities. But if you are doing all of those other activities and you are not doing the content marketing and you're not building up that foundation, you're going to be doing those activities for the rest of your career. Sitting around 8 hours a day making cold calls is a miserable way to run a business. Content marketing works for you. It is the most high leverage sales activity in today's world. I can create a piece of content once and have it viewed by 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people. There's no limit. And with just a little bit of ad spend on the social platforms, I can guarantee that it is seen by the targeted audience that I want to have see it. That is so much better than doing cold prospecting. So again, in the early days, do everything that you can. But if you're not doing the content marketing side of things, you are setting yourself up for a very rough road, I promise you. So let me show you the marketing plan that we recommend that people follow so that they can grow their business in a scalable way that eventually creates a much, much better lifestyle than doing the typical cold outbound prospecting approach. Here we're looking at what we call our visual marketing scorecard. Okay, so as I said, we highly recommend that you build the capacity at your business to be a content marketing machine. That's the way that the world operates, and you can pull interested leads in to you and then follow up with them rather than doing the cold prospecting chase. So what does that marketing plan look like? What I've done here is I've designed a simple scorecard to help you keep track of your activities over the course of a month. And you can see things that you're familiar with: webinars, newsletters, ads, networking events, content posts, social posts. So let's just run through these really quickly. A webinar, if you offer a webinar, say once a month, that's a good, valuable webinar. It's a fantastic way to demonstrate your expertise and to help grow your audience. Similarly, we love people who do lunch and learns. Okay, lunch and learns a little old school, which is part of the reason why they're so effective, is they're different. They're not just digital. You actually get the opportunity to meet with people in person, and that's incredibly valuable in today's world. So if you have the capacity to do a lunch and learn each month as well, doing a webinar and one lunch and learn each month is a really nice setup. Everybody should have a newsletter, and that newsletter should contain an offer to either contact you to have a sales conversation or to buy some of your services. That newsletter ideally goes out every single week. If not, every other week is good as well. But there's no excuse not to have a newsletter. It's one of your most important tools that you can use for following up with your prospects, educating them, positioning yourself as an expert, and just staying in front of them, showing that consistency. And then Ads to content, ads to relationship bridge, ads to lunch and learn, ads to webinar, ads to offer. That may sound like a lot of ads to you. I have a very simple approach to setting up ads that does not require a ton of time or attention or budget. But ultimately, honestly, if you just started with running ads to some content so that you could get your name out there and demonstrate your expertise and demonstrate that you're adding value, that's the first step, and it's a critical step, and it doesn't require much budget at all. Ultimately, we also would love to be running retargeting ads, which are making an offer to the audience that's already showed interest, promoting our webinar, things like that. Again, I have a very simple approach to this, and honestly, with just a $5 a day budget or $10 a day budget, you can really start to get a lot of momentum at your business. Going to a couple of networking events each month, fantastic. You could even do more than that. You can make it out to a networking event once a week. I don't go to too many of them. I'm not real high on them because I think they're generally relatively low value. But again, if I'm just getting started, I'm doing everything. And then there's content posts. Content posts are creating a new video each week or a blog post each week, something that, again, you're adding value, demonstrating some expertise, and giving yourself something that you can promote. And then social posts. It's a great idea to be doing a social post every single day. It's something that you may have to work up to, but it's a great goal to have. And it's obviously a great way in today's world to get visibility. So this is what a pretty complete marketing plan looks like. If after 6 months of running your business, you're doing all of these things consistently, you are outperforming the far majority of agencies in the marketplace. And you are generating interest in inbound leads for your services every single day. This is much better than building your business on cold outbound prospecting. But at the same time, I do recommend that as you're starting your business, you do everything possibly that you can to grow your business. That content marketing plan that I showed you does not take a full day of work. Maybe it takes you a couple of hours each day. That leaves you with a lot of time that you can be doing outbound prospecting. Set up a simple scorecard like this where it's just 100 touches. My goal is to get 100 touches every single day. That could mean that I'm sending out 100 cold emails. It could mean that I'm making phone calls, a combination of those things. It could be that I'm messaging some business owners on social media. There's all kinds of things that could qualify for this. The point is get in some consistent reps. It's going to help your business grow. Again, not nearly as much as doing content marketing, but in the early days, let's do the hustle. Specifically, when you're just getting started, one of the very best things that you can do with your cold prospecting or with your content marketing is to just announce to the world that you're in business and that you are looking for a handful of customers to work with, that you may just be offering these services to them for free to get started so that you can get some experience and get some case studies. Okay, just getting those first handful of businesses that you're doing some work for and that you can see that you're adding value to them and you can get some testimonials, it gives you so much more confidence from that point forward. And I hate to see new agencies that are unwilling to do work for free to get started. It's one of the best ways to just get some momentum at your business. And we offer a campaign to our agencies where we suggest that you reach out to people in your community, people that already know you, friends, family, people that you've previously worked with, and also just post it on social media where you're just saying, hey, we're looking for 3 businesses that we can help with X, and we're gonna do it either free or at a huge discount, whatever you wanna do, and just ask them to get in touch with you. You can use this as a foundation for how you are marketing your services as you get started, again, until you get those first few businesses that you've done some work for in exchange for testimonials. And then at the end of, let's say, 3 months, you're gonna offer these services for free for them for 3 months. At the end of 3 months, they become a paying customer. So now you're getting that experience, you're getting those testimonials that are gonna help you with all of the rest of your marketing, and you're getting paid customers after 3 months. So this is an absolute proven approach. So many great businesses have been started this way, and we just give you a simple approach to doing it. One of the most common questions I get asked is, what content marketing should you be doing at your business? That can be intimidating, I know, if you haven't done a lot of content marketing. The great thing is there's all kinds of proven formats out there as to what kind of content to create. Lists like how to do certain things at your business, or the top resources for a small business that could help them with their marketing in the next year, or the 7 things that every small business website should have. Okay, you're familiar with content like this. It's all very proven formats that have proven structures. So in our training, we give you a lot of templates, and we also actually produce content for our agency customers every month so that they can use that content as a starting point so they're not starting from scratch. So content marketing can be intimidating. We try and make it as easy as possible. You combine all of these things into a consistent marketing and prospecting plan that you are staying with for 90 days, 6 months. You are going to have so much momentum at your business. You're going to feel that momentum. It's going to give you confidence. You're going to see your pipeline getting more and more valuable. You've got some revenue coming in. And then you're in a rhythm of how to do this stuff, especially on the content marketing side, where you can just continue to expand this and grow your pipeline to reach those bigger growth targets in the years to come. The last thing that I want to address in this video is how you scale up your team to be able to support all of these customers that you're going to add. The great thing about everything that we just covered is there's so much automation and there's so much scalability in the service delivery that much of this can be done as a very small lifestyle business. So you can keep a very lean team, and there's a big community of outsourced help out there now that realizes how big of a market the high-level community is. And so you can find a lot of talent around the world to help you with it so that you don't have to bring on full-time employees, which I definitely recommend that you avoid bringing on full-time employees as much as you can, just because the cost and administration and legal impact of doing so can be quite a burden. We have this wonderful gig economy world now where people are working part-time for a number of different companies. And so you can find somebody that's going to be able to help you out on a part-time basis, and maybe they grow into a more full-time role as you go. But the first person that you need on your team is somebody to help you with all this high-level stuff, somebody to do the actual setup and onboarding of the customer when you sign those new customers. And I say that you should hire somebody to do that because you, as the business owner, really need to be the driver of revenue at your business. You have to take responsibility for bringing money in the door. The risk that I see with a lot of agencies as they're getting started is that they think that they then have to do it all. They have to become high-level experts and do all of the technical setup and administration of high level. And I can understand that thinking when you're really small, particularly if you're really lean on money. But I promise you that the faster that you get somebody on your team to help you with that work, the faster that you're going to get out of those money problems, because you can spend all of your time on sales and marketing, which is the engine of health at your business. It is what brings in the revenue that pays for everything else. As they say, nothing happens until a sale is made. So it's your job to go out there and get those sales. The faster that you can get that recurring revenue up, the better off you're going to be. There are a lot of people out there that can help you with this, and they are not very expensive, and you can get them part-time or full-time. So again, I recommend that you are the sales and marketing engine, and you bring somebody on to help you with the service side of things as quickly as you possibly can. How quickly is up to you and your financial position and your risk tolerance. I can tell you when I started my IT services business, I didn't know a thing about how to set up a computer or set up a computer network or support that network. And to the day I sold that company about 9 years later, I still didn't know anything about those things. So you have to be comfortable with taking on that role of the entrepreneur and the CEO, if you will, not somebody who has to be in there actually providing the service, the technical aspects of the service every day. So when I started that business, I hired somebody on day one, and I told them, hey, look, I'm going to go out and sell, and at some point or another, I'm going to get a customer, and here's what you're going to have to do for them. And fortunately, I found somebody who was good with the technical side, but also had a personality that they could get on the phone, talk to the customer, understand what the customer needed, do some of the softer side as well, not just the technical aspects, but taking care of the customer. And I really stress that culturally at our business, that we can take care of all this technical stuff, but if we don't take care of the person, then we're going to fail. So you should think about it the same way. When you're hiring, you should look for somebody that can help you with the technical aspects of high level, But ideally look for somebody as well that could also get on the phone and have a conversation with a customer and provide some customer service. If you can find that combination, it really is magic, and that's something that you can build your business around. And that continues to be how the structure of this scales. So if you bring on more customers faster, you're going to need more of those technical behind the scenes people that are actually making high level work and delivering the service for each customer. And then at some point, you will probably want to get out of the day-to-day selling, or at least have somebody else help you with that, and you'll bring in a salesperson as well. Salespeople are expensive and they can be very hit or miss though. So I would recommend that you do everything that you can to get this business to the point where it's doing $25,000, $30,000, $35,000 a month just with you selling and the small team of outsourced help that you've hired to help you on the technical side of things. And then if you want to look at bringing in a salesperson, you can do that. But I have lots and lots of customers that have scaled again to that $30,000, $35,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month where they are the only salesperson on the team and they have somebody helping them with the service delivery aspects behind the scenes. Scaling and managing people can be difficult. So one of the reasons why I love the spreadsheet that I showed you earlier, where I showed you adding 2 customers, then 3, then 4 customers a month, that's a plan that you can grow with. You can have a little bit of time to determine, are the people that you're getting on your team going to be people that can grow with you? You can develop some of your internal processes and communication about how you bring on new customers and provide service to them, so that as you bring on new people, you can make this easier and easier each time. The faster that you scale and the faster that you bring on people, the more challenging all of that becomes, and it really does become less of a lifestyle business and more of something that is a true startup where you just need to be absorbed in it 15 hours a day. That's for you to decide. I have a couple of gentlemen right now in my community that have gone from $4,000 a month in recurring revenue when I first met with them not even 18 months ago or so, to over $200,000 a month in recurring revenue now. And they are following the blueprint that I've outlined for you here. And they are adding people to their team much, much faster because they're scaling their revenue so fast. They're bringing on literally now dozens of customers each month. So that opportunity is out there. And if you're that ambitious and you want to go for it, you can. But one of the things that I love about this business and this opportunity is that you can grow this to a $500,000 a year business, $1 million a year business, 1.5, somewhere in that range, with a very small team, very high margins, and just a wonderful lifestyle. If you want to go for bigger than that, you can. Either way, that team structure is generally the structure that you're going to follow to scale up. And then of course, as things get bigger, you're going to add some of the true overhead to your team, like bookkeeping and things like that. But honestly, you can do all of that on an outsourced basis very easily, especially since your customers are getting charged automatically on a credit card through the HighLevel system. So again, it's a wonderful lifestyle opportunity. Keep overhead to a minimum. Invest in good outsourced talent. At some point, you may want to bring some of that outsourced talent in full time so you can really build a culture and a team around them. That's for you, again, to decide as you determine your growth goals and the scale that you're looking for. Okay, this has been a long one. I know if you're still with me, I hope you got some good value out of this. My goal was to try and give you as much of an overview of the business model that's going to be successful for digital agencies here going forward. It's going to rely on technology and specifically AI to ensure that you're delivering really high value services, but doing it at really low cost structure, high automation, so you can get the margins that you need to have a successful business. This is not about time and talent. That means that it opens up this opportunity to so many people. You do not have to be a marketing guru. You do not have to be a professional web designer to be able to deliver really valuable services to your small business customers now. It's a huge opportunity. It's an exciting opportunity. I'm sure you can tell that I'm very passionate about it. And if it's something that you decide to pursue and you think it's something that I can help you with, I would love to have the opportunity. Again, if you sign up for HighLevel through me or upgrade your HighLevel account through me, you get access to all of my bonus programs and access to myself, my team, and a great community of other agencies to support you. You can get all the details down below or in the description of this video, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.